Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Moment Live. It's your old pal, Meredith Lynch. I'm joined, as always, by the fellow agent of chaos that I know and love, Rebecca Sananez. We are here for another Friday episode of The Moment, and there's so much that we need to talk about today. First of all, the Knicks in 5. I think it can still be Knicks in 5.
Yes.
Okay. Has taken New York City by storm, and we're going to talk about it. And I'm kind of loving the Knicks, and it's not just because I like their colors. Then there is a new Bombshell report from the New York Times that takes us inside all of the attempts by the people surrounding Trump to cover up his involvement in the Epstein files. And you read the full article. I read 65% of the article.
Long.
It's a very long article.
It's an excerpt from their book.
Yeah. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then later, I'm so excited for this conversation.
I know,
like, this to me is so important. So we have Congressman Mark Takano joining us. And I'm really, there's so much that I've learned about him over the last couple of days.
I know.
It's fascinating. But something that he's brought forward is legislation that would make creators have to disclose political funding on the national level. So it's federal. Right now in the state of California, you do have to disclose.
Yep.
But I don't think that really makes a lot of sense if it's only state specific.
Yeah. And I mean, as we saw, it's clearly hard to enforce. And so that's one of the things that I think we wanted to talk to him about is like, what have we learned from here in California? He is a congressman from California. What did we learn here during this last primary? And how do we make it better?
Yeah. And everybody kept saying, Meredith, you're definitely played by, Tom Steyer, and it's like, no, I'm paid by Chad Bianco.
No,
she's Sheriff Chad Bianco.
She's paid by Jill Stein.
Oh, please, these days. No, I'm just kidding. But I think first let's talk about the Knicks.
Knicks in 5.
Knicks in 5. So the games are very exciting. There was like this huge game.
You watched?
I did watch. I've been actually watching the games because they are really fun. I love the celebrity aspect, even though I'm like, there's something about the celebrity aspect of watching these games that feels a little, I don't know. Like, I feel like, okay, when you go back now and you read about like the Coliseum.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, no, I know this sounds insane, but you go back and you read about the Coliseum and how these gladiators would fight each other and how like the richest of the rich would sit like in the front row and they controlled everything. And then they'd have people who were being used for their bodies.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh my God, it's like exactly the same.
We're
but it's
not,
just like
do nothing original, nothing new under the sun.
But at the same time, I feel like New York has been through it.
Yeah.
And I am excited to see them. And I don't know, did you see Taylor Swift?
Of course I saw Taylor Swift. I hate to admit it, I loved the t-shirts.
Oh, I thought the t-shirts were fun, but I don't know if that's just because I like the colors.
No, I thought it was really fun and silly. They did Nickelback, Stevie Nicks, Nicole Kidman. I was like, this could be a thing.
But did you
Nicolas
see her
Cage
grab Mariska Hargitay?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She shook.
That's where I get uncomfortable. That's where Taylor Swift. Remember this one time Rebecca and I were out to eat, and I was like, "Who would you rather be at dinner with right now, Dave Portnoy or Taylor Swift?" And at first she said Taylor Swift, okay, and I was like, "No, Rebecca," because we were at this little Thai place. I was like, Taylor Swift right now would be up at the register with I don't know, silverware in her mouth, and she'd be like, ah.
On the other hand, as somebody who hit you in the arm for saying Cola Scola on our Tuesday episode, I'm also a grab you girl kind of girl.
The problem is and I don't care. Taylor Swift, I'm glad she's there. She's having people are like, oh my God, she's a Knicks fan. I mean, listen, the city's electric. Yeah, she's got the money.
If I had disposable income right now, real disposable income, I'm not even a basketball fan, but I would just go to New York to be there. I feel like if you haven't spent time in New York, the way people gather in the streets for protests, for happy things, for sporting events, you see all these videos now of people opening up their windows during the game, and you could just hear the city. New York is just such an electric place. And I left New York halfway through the pandemic, 2021. And
you're still banging pots and pans out your window.
Literally, that's it.
I know that was
I was gonna say is it was you could feel New York trying so hard to hold on to that energy, and it was a really hard time. And so I don't know, for me, seeing all these people flooded into the streets, having a good time. Okay, this is the other thing that I want to talk to you about. Is Taylor Swift getting married at Madison Square Garden?
You know what?
Okay.
It's so like if she is like God help her. I just don't think it's possible because like if you are that wealthy and you don't want natural light, like I can't even like you and I were talking about this last night. I literally just texted her out of nowhere and go, "Can you imagine not wanting natural light at your wedding?"
And I knew exactly what she was talking about.
I just think that I don't think that she is. I think this is just like a rumor that's like really gotten out of hand.
Yeah, I think that. So here's why I think it's a possibility. I also really resent. By the way, I'm like not even a Taylor Swift fan, and I'm out here being like, well, if you look at,
but like, why do you resent it?
Just because I'm like, I actually don't. It's like the internet has made it something that I care about. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like a particular Taylor Swift fan. I'm not like care about her wedding. And so the fact that I'm spending any amount of my brain time being like, is Taylor Swift getting into Madison Square Garden? Here's why I think yes. But here's why I think yes. I think it does sound like she wants to get married in New York. And you can't, like if you're Taylor Swift, you cannot get married in New York. Like it's too dangerous. You can't
get married in like a ballroom. Like you can't get married at the St. Regis.
It's just it is far too dangerous. But Madison Square Garden, no windows, tunnels underneath.
It's
Madison
like one of the
Square
safest
Garden.
Places you could take her.
And like if anybody, it is kind of iconic.
And
like
she knows it.
And she knows it.
Like she's performed there many times. So like
it's like an Eras
her
tour.
team knows. I don't know though. I think that the next
crazy.
era of Taylor is going to be a little slowed down.
Yeah.
And I don't think it sets the tone for that at all.
That's
like I
true.
think
That's a good
I
point.
think he's going to do one more year of football, and maybe she'll do like one more sort of like, and then I think they're gonna. I'm not saying total, but I think we're going to see like a Faith Hill, Tim McGraw era from these two, where they're going to move someplace like Nashville, have a couple of kids, and just not that she won't continue making music, but it's just going to be a new era, I think, for Taylor. And so I feel like kicking it off at Madison Square Garden just feels insane. Murphy and O'Brien. Isn't that episode of Seinfeld? Are they going to Madison Square Garden?
That's right. Yeah. Wow. Deep cut.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
I just,
it's
you know
what?
Up.
It's coming up.
$5.
Put it on Polymarket. What does Polymarket have to say about it? You know?
I wonder if they have it. Maybe we can see if it's in the thing where like the location.
Yeah.
Anyway, I also am like, so like, would like you be sitting in like the loge? Like, you know what I mean? Like also what's a good seat? I will say this, I am rooting for the Knicks, don't get me wrong, but I also kind of love San Antonio.
Oh, say more.
I mean, first of all, like, what a good time to have eyes on San Antonio. San Antonio is an hour north of Dilley.
Yep.
And, you know, Texas is big, so like an hour is nothing to them. And also to Representative Castro, who has been doing so much good work for Dilley, is, you know, the rep for San Antonio. I also love Wemby.
Yeah.
I think he's so interesting. I was really disappointed to hear that eggs were thrown at him.
Oh, really? I didn't hear that.
That's been the rumor that he was.
By whom?
By New Yorkers.
Ah,
I know.
Come on.
He's a good one.
Leave him alone. That's so unsportsmanlike. I hate that.
I know. It's really and so anyway, I really like him. I think he's really interesting. Did you see him sketching in the park?
You were the one who told me about that. I was introduced to him for the first time during the Olympics. Like, and I was like, what is it? He looks just like the Space Jam kid. Like, he's so tall.
Very
and
tall.
like he's like a very but he's incredible.
Yeah, and he's really interesting. And, you know, I just think like San Antonio, like the Spurs have actually had a great run.
Okay.
You know, like they're a great team. They're going to continue to be a really great team. This is kind of it for the Knicks. So I do want the Knicks to win because I do think they deserve it. But I also think like you guys, let's like not forget, like just like San Antonio needs us.
Yeah.
They need our energy as well. And I hope that like, I don't know, that's
Texas.
just something.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally fair.
Yeah.
I think the thing with the Knicks is like, part of loving the Knicks is that they're terrible. Like this is sort of like the joke with everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like throughout pop culture, it's just sort of like, you know, the Knicks are terrible. And so to see all these people for the first time since like the 90s get a win is, there's people like saging outside of Madison Square Garden. I thought this was
nun who I'm friends with has a viral video of her blessing it. So there she is, Sister Marie Mackey. Hey, Sister Marie.
Wait, that's so funny.
Yeah.
How do you know Sister Marie Mackey and why is You know,
I
all
get
the
around.
nuns. Yeah,
Okay,
you
I
the
know a
nuns.
lot of nuns.
She knows the nuns. That's so funny.
Sister Marie is so cool.
Before we move on, Taylor Swift also gave a hug to Kylie Jenner, who's been like a, because Timothy is like such a big Knicks fan. He's like exactly who I picture as a Knicks fan. It's like those New York boys who are like, nah, nah.
Yeah, and he's a real Knicks, like people. He's a real Knicks fan.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah. No, I'm like,
Yep.
I'm a Kylie in so much as like living in New York, I was a Knicks fan in so much as the men that I was dating at any given moment. You know what I mean?
Totally.
That's
Yeah.
like-
Oh my God. Of course.
But-
and like, have you ever sat courtside?
Are you kidding me? No.
Okay.
I mean,
well,
but I mean, like
I have.
at Madison Square Garden.
No, I sat courtside at what's the other one?
Barclays.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yes, but it was for a Liberty game.
Oh wow, there you
Oh
go.
come on, it was still cool.
It is cool. Yeah, no.
But
It
I
is
will
cool.
say
It is
this.
cool. And Barclays is a great stadium.
It was kind of like a bucket list thing for me because
Yeah.
I'd always and I got to meet Ellie.
Oh, there you go.
You know,
yeah. I
but-
love the Liberty. I think it's so cool that they're, like the problem with that is that there's only really one team that people like. I wouldn't know any of the other WNBA.
You know the
Teams.
Sparks? Oh my God, we should go to a Sparks
Yeah,
game.
I guess maybe I'm the problem, y'all.
Or the Fever? You don't know the Fever? That's Caitlin Clark's team? Okay. Anyway, so long story short, sitting courtside is like, it really is like electric. Of any
Electric,
other
yeah.
sport, it's electric.
Of all the sports that I would go see in person, I like going to see baseball in person, and I like
Yeah, it's like a
basketball.
vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I
But,
like the vibe. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a vibe.
But I think the thing about Kylie is like, I think Kylie is so like out of some of the Kardashian family drama.
Yeah.
Like to me, when I think about her, she's so removed from the drama that sometimes with Kanye. Like I don't even
Yeah.
associate her
It's also
with
so long
Kanye.
ago. Yeah.
And so I think I'm not surprised they had this friendly exchange. I also think like Kylie is so weird.
Kylie's weird. She also seems happy to me. I'm like,
Oh, no,
you
no,
know
no,
what?
she does seem happy,
like,
but
she just
she's-
seems like I'm like she
she's-
seems in a good place.
Like
Good for
she
her.
seems, she just seems happy. Sorry, there's nothing else to say.
Good for you,
Good
Kylie.
for you,
Get
Kylie.
yours. Life is short.
Yeah, I can't believe though she's still trying to make us buy those fucking lip liners.
Ugh.
You knew, like I went on the website the other day. They're like, we just dropped this like new thing. I'm like, how are you still doing this?
Yeah. And also, like now we've seen, like we know it's lip filler,
Right.
You know, like we know. All right, let's move on before we
Yeah.
we have our congressman on. So so the New York Times released this excerpt from a book coming out by Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan, who've been like these incredible reporters, specifically of Trump for many, many years. Maggie Haberman has been reporting on him since she was at the New York Post, and Trump was like a local businessman. So that's why she ended up getting
She
this
knows
beat.
where all the skeletons
Right,
are.
like, and she knows how to deal with him, right, and how to reach him, and
does he talk to her?
oh, for sure, yeah. She's a fascinating reporter. You know, we've talked about having her on the show because I've talked to her before, and she does not crack. Like it is very hard.
But I'm surprised that he talks to her.
But I think that's why is like it's very hard for him to find something that would make her the problem. You know what I mean? Like she's just so,
Like he can't Caitlin Collins her.
Yeah, like and because she's a written reporter, she's
Right,
more
she's not
behind
front facing. She's not sitting down with him like meet the press or something. Yeah,
like
yeah,
like he's definitely said you're crooked before, but it's just a totally different
like
relationship.
goes like this off of her probably.
But so this article comes out. It's an excerpt of this book. It's really, really long, but I do recommend it if you have like, I don't know, half an hour to read something about the people around him trying to cover up his involvement in the Epstein files. And it starts in the Situation Room, which like the way millennials think of the Situation Room is that picture during the Osama bin Laden raid and Hillary Clinton. Yeah, this is the Situation Room where they are doing like, they are supposed to be doing foreign, like that's where they do
Imagine
war.
if they were all looking at a photo that Barack Obama had sent to Jeffrey Epstein for his birthday. Like, can you imagine?
That's right, exactly.
Like, that's exactly what they were doing in there.
And everybody was in the room. It was like Susie Wiles was there, J.D. Vance, Karoline Leavitt, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Todd Blanche, who's now about to be the deputy attorney general, or who was the deputy attorney general, is about to be the attorney general. And it was like watching an idiot movie. It was like a bunch of malicious morons figuring out how to keep Trump out of the Epstein files. And they clearly knew, like some of it happens around when the Wall Street Journal article with the birthday card
Right,
dropped.
yes.
And they're all sort of pre-figuring out how to keep it out of the press. And it's like, okay, well, if he didn't do it, then why do you care so much? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and it's like almost like he's not really part of it, Trump. It's like this crony group of people who should have nothing to do with one another.
I think it's because he's so incapacitated that he can't be a part of it. But something that I thought was really interesting in the piece was that Susie Wiles basically was like, well, JD Vance is a full-on conspiracy theorist. And I was like reading about what his sort of take was, and his idea was to have Tucker Carlson do a sit-down interview with Ghislaine Maxwell, which felt like an insane idea, right? But
he was like, no bad ideas in brainstorming.
but I do have to say, in JD Vance's defense, like he was like, oh, I feel like this is like Susie Wiles basically was like, he thinks it's all infiltrated. And I'm like, well, it kind of is.
Do you know what my theory is? Because the thing that I kept thinking about as I was writing this, like the reporting here is incredible.
Yeah.
And they had a little note halfway through about like their reporting ethics, where it came from. And but you have to think like, okay, in that situation, there's no cell phones allowed. She named all the people, they named all the people who were in that room. And so the question is, who's leaking? Right? Like, who's the person who's going and talking to Maggie Haberman and Jonathan Swan with such specificity? And I was like, JD Vance is definitely one of the leakers in this room.
You think so?
Oh, I definitely think so. I think
because
Dan
he thinks it's
Bongino
going
for
to end
sure.
badly, and so he's covering his ass a little bit.
I think
because he doesn't come across as bad as some other people in this
That's
piece.
why I think it's him. That's exactly right.
He's not like, I mean, to be fair, I don't think he's totally wrong in the
I agree.
like when Susie Wiles is like, he's a total conspiracy theorist. I'm like, I've heard conspiracy theories. These are not conspiracy theories.
Well, I think that the Tucker Carlson thing is an
that's
insane
just a stupid-
pitch.
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
stupid pitch. But of all the people in there, he and Dan Bongino were right. Is like, if there's nothing, the best thing you can do is be totally,
Right.
everybody was saying it. It's like the drip, drip, drip is
Right.
what's so terrible.
Right.
And in reading this article, you can tell why there's such a drip, drip, drip. Having worked in like incompetent high level teams of people like bickering.
The moment live.
The moment live, exactly. It's like, that is exactly what happens when nobody takes a lead and makes a decision on what you're supposed to do. Instead, what happens is like things trickle out and people like fill in the gaps. And you can tell that JD Vance is like, well, I want to run for president one day. And he has his finger on the pulse more of like the young MAGA. And he's like, this is a bigger deal than you guys are making it out to be. And, but yeah, I think he's one of the leakers. I think Dan Bongino is, that's all I could keep thinking about is I was like, this is such an intimate space, especially in the Situation Room where like these people should not be. It's like, you know, like when cartoons do crossovers and you're like, why are these people together?
Yeah.
That's what this article was like to me. I was like, why are Kash Patel and Susie Wiles and Karoline Leavitt all talking about how to cover up for the Epstein files? Like, what is this? And by the way, and you pointed this out to me, is Bill Gates testified in front of Congress.
You know what? I have a hot take. I would be totally fine to never see a member of the fucking Gates family again.
Ooh, that is a hot take. And I think I'm with you.
Like,
I'm with you.
Like,
I agree.
Now Melinda French Gates has rebranded herself as like, I'm going to talk about perimenopause.
Yeah,
and it's
I
like,
know.
I want to talk about your husband.
That's how I think all women launder their like reputational crises through menopause right now. They're like, you know what? What if we talked about menopause?
No one's talking about it.
No one's talking about
And
it.
it's, you know what? It's not untrue. That's
Catch
the problem.
us talking about menopause in like 2 weeks and you know we're averting a scandal.
No, but like it's not untrue, but it's like, I don't know. And then I have to keep watching the daughter be like, so Rebecca Minkoff, how did you get someone to buy your bags? And it's like, she's like, well, I called a friend who was willing to call Jenna Elfman. I'm like, oh, right. Because you're all Scientologists. You're all like, it's like, I'm sorry. It's because you're a member of the Church of Scientology.
Yeah.
Like you, I don't know. Yeah. She unfollowed me on Instagram. Ooh. And the other day, like, cause I just have no fucks left to give.
She's got no fucks left to give.
First of all, she's copying Subway takes. I sent you the video. Remember I sent you the video? She takes the Subway thing now and does the same thing with the T-Pass.
Yes,
Not T-Pass, but whatever. I have so few fucks to give. The other day, she like put up some video and I just wrote like, why did you unfollow me?
Did she didn't write back though.
No, somehow she didn't get the message.
Yeah, I know. The Gates have had such a fall from grace, and I think a lot of it has to do with the Epstein.
I'm just not interested in them at all.
Yeah, I'm not interested in them. I'm not interested in them at all.
I'm interested in the Bill Gates impersonator.
I didn't know there was one.
Oh, you don't know about the Bill Gates impersonator?
No, what is there to impersonate? He's so
When
boring.
we first invented Microsoft, wait till I send you this.
Okay. Well, there we go. Well, he says that, he had no wrongdoing, there was no criminal conduct, but that Jeffrey Epstein used his affairs as sort of like blackmail.
Ladies.
Ladies.
Or gentlemen.
Yeah, right. That's true. Good point. Okay. Anyways, everybody should read the article. It's fascinating. It's, says a lot about how the administration functions. Let's move on.
Okay. I'm so excited. We have with us today
excited.
Congressman Mark Takano. He represents California's 39th Congressional District in the U.S. House of Representatives. Before elected to Congress, Rep. Takano worked as a public school teacher for more than 2 decades.
An English public school
I
teacher,
know.
no
We would have
less.
actually passed his class. He is the first openly LGBTQ person of color elected to Congress. We are so excited to have him here. Rep. Takano, welcome to The Moment Live.
Good to be with you, Rebecca and Meredith.
Good
Wonderful.
morning.
Good morning.
Well, we are so excited that
Yeah.
you're here because when we found out about this legislation that you have enacted, we were like, we got to talk to him because it is the hot button issue, especially here in California. So this month, you introduced the PAID Act, promoting authenticity with influencer disclaimers, which would amend the Federal Election Campaign Act to require any person who's required by a political committee or candidate to include a disclaimer that they were paid. Can you share with us a little bit about what prompted you to put forth this legislation?
Well, I'm a California voter, as well as being a member of Congress. I was trying to make up my mind about who I was going to vote for governor. And, I saw one creator that I happen to not know personally, but I've met in person. And I was kind of surprised that this particular creator endorsed one of the candidates. And then a few days later, I see among influencers and in the press, actually it was the press, it was mainstream press that reported that that this creator had been paid a sum of money. And I said, wow, this is interesting. This is kind of a new thing I haven't seen happen. 4 years ago, creators were a thing. But really, they became really a thing in this gubernatorial primary.
Yeah.
And so it got me thinking. I guess California does have regulations in this area, legal law. But I did some spade work and found out that at the federal level we don't have this sort of we don't have statutory language dealing with transparency and disclosure for creators and influencers when it comes to, are you being paid by a candidate or a candidate committee or some entity? So anyway, that was where it came from. I mean, the same sort of feelings that everybody else was having, I think.
Yeah, I'm like this is so fascinating to me as we watch legacy media sort of degrade and see creators and independent media people enter that space. I think we're going to need new guardrails around how these things interact because the old school rules have sort of gone away. The question that I have, because I agree this is a huge, huge issue, but as you mentioned, California does already have the beginnings of this legislation in place, and obviously it wasn't enough to stop the interference in this election. I saw it, you saw it. So I wonder, like, how do we enforce this rule, both at the local level and at the federal level, because it's so new?
Well, I think I always I forget who wrote this, Lao Tzu or some Chinese philosopher, about you should govern like you would fry a small fish, lightly, and right, it's kind of funny. So I in this space, I think we can have fines, we can have investigations into whether or not someone disclosed or didn't disclose, and you have a whole process of filing complaints, and the FEC, the Federal Elections Commission, in this case, would be the Federal Elections Commission would be the entity that would investigate. But we need to make sure they're funded, that they have they have all their members and have a quorum to make decisions and based on their investigations. But really, news was made when a couple of the influencers filed a complaint in California with the Fair Political Practices Commission.
Mm-hmm.
That became a news story.
Mm-hmm.
Other creators began to comment on it, and then that in and of itself became a kind of accountability. Why? So I don't know that we have to slam people with huge fines, shame them. I think there's going to be enough quote unquote shame when creators and influencers hold each other accountable to certain standards.
I agree.
And what the role of government is to be the fair referee. Did you violate or did you not violate? Okay, we're going to slap you with a fine. We can all figure out what that number is. But I think what's of real value to influencers and creators is the trust they build with their followers. That's how they build followers, right? And if followers are now, their followers are now, their audience is now thinking that the opinions that a particular creator has is influenced by a sum of money that's not being disclosed and that they're being deceived, that begins to break down that trust. And so really I view this law as kind of recognizing the influence of influencers and podcasters and the whole ecosystem of creators. I, look, about a year and a half ago, the Democratic members of Congress got together and we sort of looked at what happened in 2024. And we kind of were told, look, you're way behind in terms of interacting with this whole ecosystem of creators and influencers. And you shouldn't just be talking about politics. You should be like engaging in a very authentic way with a range of people who have these huge audiences. And that 2/3 of Americans aren't getting their news from legacy media. And so obviously, you all have a huge impact on how information gets out there, how you help followers kind of figure out, sort through the deceptions, who's paying for what. And so really, I think this is about helping creators police themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because a lot of creators, I think, don't even know. That's one of the other things that I think has come out of this is that, like, there's not even an awareness sometimes around sort of how these things are working behind the scenes. But one question that I have for you is I was going through the text of it. And so how would it work if, let's say, a political campaign or a PAC pays an intermediary? Because a lot of times what happens with these campaigns is that the campaign will pay a company who then employs the influencer, and they never have any interaction whatsoever with the campaign, and they get paid directly from that intermediary. So how would we enforce it in that sense?
Well, you're bringing up a very interesting point. They still have to disclose that they're being paid by the company. That doesn't absolve the disclosure. And then the question becomes, well, what is this company? Where's the money coming for this company? And then that becomes the whole, I think, subject of inquiry by the creator community itself. And being too clever by half, I think, is going to be something that creators will tear apart. Don't you? I mean, it's like, oh yeah, this is a very clever move. They're trying to disguise the fact that this money came from candidate X, but it's actually this entity that was created to mask where the money is actually coming from or whose interest it really is. I mean, that becomes, I think, the spade work of really diligent, dogged, and persistent creators out there. And whoever gets credited with that is, I think, going to become, the badass.
Well, the other thing that I think is complicated is I'll tell you, I saw one of these briefs recently.
Yes.
And I won't say who it was for. You guys, you can try to bait me into telling you, but I won't say who it was for. But one of the things that it said is somewhere in this video, this creator must say, I'm voting for XYZ candidate because. And so even with a disclosure, because this one was going to require a disclosure, even with a disclosure, I felt uncomfortable with it because to me, it felt like paying for votes. And I'm wondering, like, where do you stand on that? And is there a world where that also fits into this bill? Look, you and I are going to be working on this bill together.
Yeah,
I think I'm adding a few
yeah.
addendums. No, but like, is there a world where that fits into this bill? Because to me, the language made it feel like it was kind of paying for votes.
Pretty close, right?
Yeah, well, we have to, the viewers and the followers are the key here. I mean, you have influencers are, they're their own sort of persona. They represent a brand. And if you represent a certain collection of, constellation of views, you become very valuable as sort of to a candidate. It's one thing if you're being paid. It's another thing if you're just doing it because you really believe in that person. And so making that distinction. Now, I don't know what the disclaimer should say, but I think it's enough for the viewers to decide, the followers to decide. Well, how much does this person really believe in the person, and how much has the money influenced them?
Mm-hmm,
But I think creators just need to be very honest and transparent and say, hey, I was compensated by candidate X or compensated by the people who support candidate X, or you even just say I was compensated by these people, and then other people have to connect the dots that, oh yeah, these are the people who also support so and so. Sometimes it gets kind of murky as to what it means, because sometimes the people who support political supporters may support opposing candidates. They give to both. They give to both sides.
Yeah,
right?
we've seen that happen.
They give to both sides, and so guess what? It's like people have got to sort that out. What does that mean?
To that end, I'm curious. So, the reason this has come out to light in California is because it's been happening on the Democratic side. But as we've seen and know, this is happening perhaps even more on the Republican side. And I'm curious, I'm gonna let you go in a second, but I'm curious if you have any bipartisan support, whether there's colleagues on the right that are like, yeah, this is bad for us too, or whether it's just Democrats policing Democrats again.
I'm working. I've had conversation with some members of Republicans, and they're going, oh, this is pretty reasonable. Oh yeah, I mean, hopefully I'll be able to say soon that I have some Republican co-sponsors.
Okay.
Normally I would have sought that out first before disclosing, before kind of announcing, oh, I've introduced this bill. But I wanted to introduce this bill on June 2nd on primary election day, precisely because I didn't want to lose relevance. Right, I thought this is we got to meet the moment.
You're working like an influencer. I got to
tell you. We're all kind of subject to the evolving norms, right?
Yep. Yeah. I guess one question I have for you is, earlier this election season, I made a video about Tom Steyer, about something involving his investments in private equity. And immediately I was hit with so many accusations that I had been paid by Javier Becerra to make this video. Nowhere in the video did I say anything about Javier Becerra. Everything that I said was factual. And then all of a sudden I'm dealing with a witch hunt in my comments of you are paid. So I guess one of the questions that I have, and one of the ones that a lot of viewers wrote in advance of this and said is like, well, how are we going to stop a little bit of this witch hunt? Because the one thing that people worry about is then this will sort of devolve, and maybe it already has, into this thing of like, well, you're being paid and you're being paid. And it's almost like, okay, maybe it's just like nobody should be paid. And I'm not saying that's the solution either.
I think everybody has to make a living, and I have to make decisions about who I'm going to accept contributions from or who I seek contributions from. I was a school teacher. I didn't come to this work and being independently wealthy or having a trust fund, right? And most people, so people may take different pathways in life. Some become like Tom Steyer, investor early on in life. and spend the first few decades of their life building tremendous wealth. For others, it's more important for us to, decision by decision, be building a story about our lives, about and why? Because we're building a certain trust. As influencers are also kind of trying to build trust with their followers and viewers. That, I'm building a relationship with by revealing what my values are and by the votes I take, and that becomes its own kind of value over time. People can judge, were my votes influenced by the contributions I took or not? Did I make brave decisions and vote for things that or against things that were very difficult to do? These are all part of the record that has to be litigated. Getting back to just what you're saying about how this all works. I mean, I can tell you that a lot of journalists, they won't even register what party they belong to.
That's what I was a journalist
She
for
was a
many
journalist.
years, and I
Yeah.
used to not register for primary elections for that reason. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the idea of how journalists make their money. Now, look, journalists often work for a local TV station, which takes advertisements.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But this idea that you separate the actual news from the editorial or opinion side, right? That you have a news editor and a newsroom. So these are all, I mean, journalistic standards are beginning to, I think, evolve into, or let's put it this way, creators who comment on politics, they're having to confront journalistic standards among themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing.
Mhm.
The question is, as with everything, how are we going to get paid? I mean,
Yeah.
what's the
That
model?
is-
That the truth.
No, that's the fundamental
Right.
problem
Yeah.
at the end of the day is these things are sort of incompatible in a way. The desire to put out good information and the need to get paid. I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's almost like local news has suffered tremendously. Who covers the city council? And it used to be, frankly, the car dealerships
That's
before
right.
the pre-internet. You would see these huge supplements in the LA Times, the Riverside Press Enterprise, because everybody wanted to buy. That's where you went if you wanted to buy a used car, or that's who they reached, and that was a huge budget of the local newspaper. Local newspapers have basically are shells of their former selves.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious how creators can establish themselves as very real, highly skilled journalists at the local level, regional level, national level. You're valuable in terms of the muckraking that you do. You're kind of like the new version of muckrakers. Being able to change the world by just revealing important things to the public that they didn't know. So, but how is it that you're going to survive? How is it that you're going to make a living? So maybe it's that everybody has to have a GoFundMe page and say, if you like my work, I don't know what the model's going to be.
Right.
But I've heard that even some of the social media companies, once you reach a certain level of popularity, they begin to compensate you. So I don't know. Actually, I don't know how that works. But if that's the case, then it may be that once you reach a certain level of an audience, that's a sort of an asset of itself. But hence the thing: how do you preserve your credibility, your standing with the folks out there, with your followers? And I think part of it is maintaining a level of integrity and purity about, transparency with your followers, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Rep Takano, we are so grateful for you. We're going to let you go, but I'm going to ask you one final question. And
Sure.
that is, you were an English teacher for
Yes.
2 decades.
Yes.
We are coming up on the summer, and we are putting together our summer reading list.
Sure.
Pitch us a book that you feel like America should be reading this summer.
Good question.
I think Jane Austen is a great source.
Yes.
So Jane Austen, it's kind of, she's more of a female writer, but I tell the guys, if you want to understand women, understand why Jane Austen grabs them. Like, if you want to understand, so it's like, so that's, I would try to motivate the male students about that. But I was always struck But I always had one girl student who fell in love with a book and would be so excited every day to discuss the book. I'd have other girls come in class, slam the book down, and go, Mr. Takano, there's nobody in this world like Mr. Darcy. He doesn't exist.
I've been looking for Mr. Darcy for years, honey.
Right? And so that's a big question. Is there a Mr. Darcy out there?
Where's
right?
Mr. Darcy, Representative Takano?
Well, we are so grateful for you. We hope you have a great weekend.
Yeah,
Thank you for
come
that
back
book
soon.
recommendation. Come back soon. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. What a
I
great
would've
book pick.
Loved.
Oh my God, he would have been the best English teacher.
I just got like a surge of like I would have been the girl coming in and been like, Mr. Takano, where's Mr. Darcy? I would have loved having him as an English teacher.
The best, honestly. I had so many good English teachers. That was such an interesting conversation. I think like one of the things that I took away from it is like, I think like I went into this conversation like, okay, how do we do this and how do we do it right? Guess what? It's not going to be done completely right away, but we have to start somewhere, and that's going to piss off the internet community because like there's nothing they hate more than like nuance.
Yeah, 100% that. I also think so. What I found most interesting is right now there aren't really standards,
Right?
You know what I mean? And so like even. Just the fact that there is a law, something that you can point to, be like, you can't do this.
Right.
I think it starts to
the conversation. Yes.
But he makes a really good point, and we've talked about this quite a bit, and I think we'll continue to talk about it, which is creators need to make money.
Right.
The internet is a complicated place to make money. I've said this before. I don't think the internet is compatible with like that sort of slow classic journalism.
Sure.
And so finding that like it is impossible. I don't know how you reconcile these two things. And who therefore gets to do it, you know?
There's a reason that you're not seeing anyone right now talk about the Maggie Haberman piece in detail in TikTok videos because it's so incredibly complicated. Like I haven't seen like one video. I'm sure that exists out there, but like it is so dense.
Yep.
And like, can you imagine if Maggie Haberman had tried to like be like, hey guys, so get ready with me while I tell you a little bit about what JD Vance said in the Situation Room.
It's
and like
funny you
teased
say
it out
that.
because it would be so hard to do.
It's one, impossible to do. And it's funny that you say that because I like often have the instinct as somebody who's like now more and more online that I'm like, oh, I should just take somebody else's reporting, which is like kind of a lot of what Aaron Parnas does, and just sort of explain it in 90 seconds to an audience. And then my reporter brain is like, ew, no, like that's somebody, that is Maggie Haberman. That's 3 years worth of Maggie Haberman's
What about
work.
when you take like 4 or 5 sources and you're like, here, this is what this says. That's what that, because that's what I try to do. I try to go like, I want to tell you guys
To
the
build something
complete
new.
picture.
Yes.
And so I'm pulling in an old article. I'm pulling in, here's this.
Totally.
Like,
but I would call that analysis, right? Like if you're doing
interesting.
analysis,
Yeah.
that's one thing. If
Yeah.
you're like, hey, here's my understanding of the story and I've done my own research and
Yeah.
here are the conclusions I've gotten to, that's different than being like, let me tell you, I took the time to read this 30-minute article. You're not going to take the time, and I'm going to like summarize it for you. I've heard a lot of people who are not in the news industry come up to me and they're like, well, I find that valuable because I'm not going to read the 30-minute article, but I do want to be informed. But the journalist in me is like, that is plagiarism, and all you're doing is being an actor on the internet. Not
you know what
a
I need?
journalist.
I need them to take that like Epstein piece and give me an audio version.
I know.
Like,
so they do have it, but it's AI.
right.
And so it doesn't
and
sound good.
like so like I do think that would make a huge difference because I would listen to
Yeah.
it. It's just I think the way that our lives are structured right now doesn't allow us, like we don't get the physical newspaper in the mail. It'd be easier to mail whatever, deliver.
My
it
dad
away.
still does.
Well, my
for
dad,
sure.
but like what I mean is
Dads still do.
But like you know, I think that piece is actually really hard to read online.
Oh, very.
Like
no,
I
mean,
was
even
reading it
I'm
this
a
morning, and I was like,
excellent
"Oh
reader.
my god, yeah."
I'm
but
a
if
good
I had
reader,
a hard
and
copy,
it still struggled for me. Yes,
but if I also had an audio version of it that was read like decently,
that
would
if
also
Maggie Haberman had come on and
yeah.
read it. Yeah. No, I agree.
So I don't know. I think you know what? Pay a creator to just read it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is I think everybody is trying to figure out how do you do, I mean, we talk about this offline all the time is like journalism as I studied it and started working on it is slow. It's time consuming. It's a lot more like academic research than it is like content creation, and it does not fit into an algorithm that prides things that are quick, that are polarizing, that are hook and grippy. Like, that is the opposite of journalism. And so how do you take those things? And as he said, it's like it used to be an advertising business. And it's funny when he was talking about the GoFundMe, what's interesting is like that's kind of how NPR was always funded.
Right.
Right? But like that's also like not
But people are
sustainable.
also really mean to creators when they ask for any
money.
type. Like, I have a
Yeah.
Patreon
Yeah.
where like I
Yeah.
don't do reporting on there, you guys. I just like talk a bunch of shit about Bethany Frankel. It's actually fucking so much fun. We have
Which
so
is
much
what
fun
I get
back
for
there.
free on our
Yeah.
text chains.
But like people get so mad that I have this Patreon that's
Yeah.
paywalled. There's someone who started an account just to make fun of it.
yeah. Wow, that's
Like,
an honor.
But
I
like,
know, that
to me,
sucks.
I'm like, I'm not. It's first of all, this is not a communist country. You don't
Yeah.
have to fucking do it.
You don't have to do it.
And
yeah.
second of all, like, well, if I'm not going to take the money from the campaign, which I turned down,
I saw her do it. I saw
you've
her do
seen
it.
me turn down
Oh.
many things.
Yeah, no, I've been proud of you over and over again. and
Like-
like many things that I'm like, it's hard to turn that down. Like many things where you're like, I mean, it's not hard ethically, it's hard financially. Where
Right.
you're like, this is
I have turned down thousands upon thousands
tens
of
of
dollars,
tens of thousands of dollars. I've seen it happen. Can attest.
And so then I'm like, okay, well, like, how do I make money in this? And it's like, well, I can't really do the like content creation thing where I'm like, hey guys, like, get ready with me while we try this new lipstick, because all those brands don't want to work with me because I'm too political. Okay, so I'm too political to get the
know.
like beauty and clothing deals. No one's sending me the Veronica Beard
Yeah.
stuff, even though I promote it. But I'm also in this place where I don't really want to do the like take the money from the candidate and say I'm voting for them. It just doesn't make sense for me. And so I'm left like, well, I'm neither.
Yeah.
And that's I'm not trying to cry poor.
No,
I'm so lucky in
I don't
so
think
many
it's
ways.
about crying poor. I think it is.
I am poor though.
Yeah.
So just
Well,
so
no,
we're
but I
all
think it is
clear.
like, I mean, like not to get like too heavy, but it's like, it's kind of the work of my life, which, and like we've been talking about doing an op-ed on this is like, how do, like, these are important questions. Is like, as a journalist, as a young journalist, I could not get enough jobs and work to be able to like live a life that was like sustainable for
Right.
me. And so eventually I had to take more like entertainment adjacent jobs. And now I'm like trying to reinvent on the internet. And I think you make such a good point that, you know, as he was saying with advertising dollars, is like in theory, your advertising dollars would be, oh, I do makeup brands and
Right.
they pay the bills so that I can go do the
I would
political
love
work.
that too. Like
that's
I would
not
love
how
to
it
be a
works.
lifestyle
Yeah.
creator who like twice a week I do a lifestyle video and then the rest of my shit's political. I would do that so happily
Yeah.
and like never like I wouldn't even entertain those numbers that I
Yeah.
get from places
Right,
that
right.
but
But it
which-
doesn't work that
it doesn't
way
work
because
that way.
the makeup companies don't want to work with people who are too political, too polarizing. I know it is a real quagmire, and I think it's something that like now is the time to figure out because it's only going to get worse, you know. So fascinating, and we're going to keep having this conversation because I think that's what we do really well on this show is be like, how do we take the best of what we understand about how the internet creates community and creates conversation and drives people to new voices and new ideas with that like old school journalistic
I know.
rigor.
It's hard. It's really
hard,
hard,
y'all.
guys. I don't know.
What's having a moment for you?
You know, I think it's like I kind of realized today is starting to really feel like summer here in LA. That's something that people don't probably know about LA. Like we don't really get
know.
summer until like late June.
Yeah, and it is a difference. I know exactly what you mean. Where it's like it's summer.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so just with that in mind, every single summer I have the same tradition, inspired by my junior year English teacher, Mrs.
Mr.
Reach-
Takano.
No, I wish. No, I loved my junior year English teacher, Mrs. Ricci, who we were assigned The Great Gatsby for summer reading, and it was the first like adult book that I read that
know
I
what
was
you
like,
mean, yeah.
I love this book. And so I have a tradition every single summer.
Oh, I knew this. Yes.
I reread The Great Gatsby and at the beginning of the summer, because I love the line, you know, I was watched for the longest day of the year and I miss it. And I just, every single year I go back and I read it, and every single year, like there's something different. I mean, like it's such a basic bitch book, but like,
but sometimes the basic bitch books is like because you can reread it. And that way you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that is new. That's something. Yeah.
and I think it's really powerful for me because it's one of the last books that I remember reading while my mom was alive.
Oh, wow.
And so it's like when, Gatsby's clinging to the past and I can transport myself to this summer where my mother is alive and not like terminally ill yet. But I think it's like just interesting to think about, like, go back and read one of those books that you read in high school that like
That's a
sparked
really
something
good
in you,
point, yeah.
and just figure out like what was it about that book and like what's the same in you, what's different in you. It's really powerful.
I read.
What would you read?
Well, what I was going to say is I have a distinct memory. I was a bad girl in high school, and I remember reading Catcher in the Rye during Saturday detention. I read the entirety of Catcher in the Rye, and I was always like, J.D. Salinger would be like, that's exactly how I intended you to read Catcher in the Rye, is like in Saturday detention. And then I became a reporter, and I went to go visit J.D. Salinger's recluse house in New Hampshire. I did a story about the person who bought his house, so I like hung out in J.D. Salinger's house many years later. But that's I was always really proud of myself. Like I've always been a really big reader.
Yeah, I'm a reader too.
I'm
like
I
always.
Like I was a bad girl in high school, but I was reading Jonathan Franzen at the same time. So.
Yeah, like I was never doing my homework, but like I love, like, actually I did well in English. I would always do well in English because
did well in English too. Yeah.
But yeah, like
I
those
actually
books.
did well in school for being a bad, but I was always I just loved that. I was always like, yeah, all these other, I was in like the AP classes, and I would be like, all these other loser AP kids are reading Catcher in the Rye instead of like going out on a Friday night. But I'm reading Catcher in the Rye the way J.D. Salinger intended us to read Catcher in the Rye, which is in Saturday detention.
And I read Great Gatsby the way that Fitzgerald intended it, which is yearning for more, always yearning for more. And so we beat on. What's having a moment for you?
David Hockney died this morning. The artist.
Oh, the artist. I saw that very quickly. Yes.
Yeah. David Hockney died, and it's one of those things where you're like, he was still alive?
I know.
But I mean that in a positive way, in so much as that, like, his art is so timeless. Like, it's such a piece of art history that you're like, how is this person still in our realm? And do you know, we've been to this place together, is the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, the pool there?
Yes, we had this conversation.
There's like, if you are living in LA, you can go to this pool in the back of this very famous hotel, and it's just like this classic pool, and there's these like dark blue squiggles at the bottom of the pool that makes it look like a cartoon, and David Hockney painted it, and that's
so
one of my
cool.
favorite. I mean, I love David Hockney. I think he's just like such a vibrant artist, but I always loved going to that pool because I was like, this looks like, I mean, it's a living art.
Yeah, art is having a moment for us, I think. Art is having a moment.
Art and literature, it's having a moment.
It is, but I think we kind of get inspired too by, Rep Takano. And I just think it's like, we joke around a lot about like this next generation and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, if we can just get kids, like, I'm like, just get kids reading more. Like, you know what I mean?
Go to Saturday detention, baby.
No,
read
like,
Catcher in the Rye.
Like,
it's a great book.
No, but like, honestly, like, I think, like, I was talking to somebody who has kids the other day, and I was like, to be honest with you, like, I don't think I believe in homework. I'm like, just fucking go home and read.
Go home and read. I know. And I think about this all the time, is like, I really, like, high school was not for me. But like, I didn't need that ultimately. You know what I mean? Like, ultimately, what has served me is that, like,
polynomials?
Well, what has served me is that, like, I'm a great reader and writer. And so, like, I can sit down and read a 30-minute piece in the New York Times about the complexities of the Trump administration and understand it. And you know where I learned how to do that is in Saturday detention, reading novels.
All right, you guys, I got the Breakfast Club over here. You guys have a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday with Rachel Lindsay, the Bachelorette, a lawyer, so many different things.
She's also lovely.
Yeah.
Spoiler
we'll be back
alert.
on Tuesday. I don't know what day of the week it is, you guys. And we're going to take next Friday off, actually, for Juneteenth.
Right.
So we'll be back on Friday with Rachel. Oh, no, we'll be back on Tuesday with Rachel.
Rachel Lindsay.
You guys, give me a fucking break.
Subscribe.
Bye.